You know what? I was reaching for a black hat, and instead of grabbing the black hat that I thought I was going to wear, I put on this one instead. This particular hat, I mean, I usually say the hats like to talk to me, and I tell you what the hats are telling me. This hat said I was going to reach for a hat that says supernatural on it. But I got this hat. This hat is sort of in the past, it was sort of my go to the bar hat. Quite often, I would wear a black hoodie with this black Dakota hat and maybe black shoes, canvas shoes with white trim and jeans. I like this hat. I don't really wear it as much as I used to because this was one of my first hats when I first started wearing hats. I mean, I still have hair, but I just started like wearing hats. And then I just bought an enormous collection of hats. And I use them on my videos. So it's not so boring for the viewer to always see me looking the same. Nevertheless, I was going to talk about Supernatural, and Dakota was the hat that came on. So this hat is really not a supernatural hat at all. It's basically what you would talk to somebody about in the bar kind of hat. So this hat is not going to talk about supernatural. It's going to talk about what's going on in the bar. Well, in my town, under quarantine, the bar is empty. It has been for quite a long time. So this hat just says, remember when you used to go out and see people at the bar? I mean, I used to drive around town a lot too. Um, since the quarantine, I think I've been in the car one time. I went to buy gas. Other people in the family go shopping. This hat also wants to say, if you remember what it was like to go out and enjoy yourself, um, maybe you've forgotten what it's like. So this hat just wants to remind you, not that long ago, we, the hat and me, used to go out and enjoy ourselves. And that was taken away. This hat wants to remind all of you that despite what the media says, various other media things come across my Facebook page that talk about people dying from plenty of other things still. Heart disease, for example, alcoholism, for example, even flu, non COVID 19 flu. And all these deaths are higher numbers than COVID 19. So this hat says, we've never had a quarantine in my lifetime. There was a talk of quarantine perhaps in 1918 during the Great Flu of 1918, and possibly during perhaps I'm not sure, maybe 1940s, maybe, when there was a polio epidemic. But in my lifetime, this is the first quarantine. And this hat says, we were told about a lot of different kinds of viruses, even SARS, which this one is supposed to be related to, and they didn't do quarantine. There was horrible, horrible thing called Ebola and varieties of Ebola that were told killed up to 90% of the people that had it. And yet we never had a worldwide quarantine for something so unbelievably horrible. Why not? Well, we just didn't. Despite the fact they'd had this flu in 1918 and the polio epidemics in the late 1940s, when Ebola came around more than one occasion, they didn't quarantine the world. They didn't even stop the planes from flying. But now, this thing, they've taken away me in this hat going to the bar. And personally, I think the whole thing is a big fucking lie. I think the COVID-19 tests are faked. I don't trust anything from Big Pharma. Nothing, because they're disgusting, vile creatures that work there. Money, hungry things. Horrible, horrible, horrible. In fact, I believe many of the other tests that they give doctors, I believe that they are lying about people having certain things that they test for. I wouldn't put anything past Big Pharmaceutical. Nothing. The most vile creatures on the planet, big pharmaceutical companies. And I wouldn't put it past them to create this pandemic and put out phony tests. We already know that the media is bought and paid for, and the government is bought and paid for. Planet corruption is what I call it. But this hat just wants to remind me that it wasn't that long ago that we were free to go out. I'll never change my mind. Some people say I'm a conspiracy nut. I've lived on this planet a long time. It ain't no fucking conspiracy that the government is corrupt, that big pharmaceutical companies are corrupt. Basically, all corporations are corrupt. And people are incredibly stupid. That's the other thing I gotta keep reminding myself. Never ceases to amaze me how stupid people are. No critical thinking, no sense of history and things that have gone on. It's like basically, you want the zombies on the planet? Oh, they're everywhere. And no, they didn't get some zombie virus. They just went to school like you and I did. And they never got an ability to think for themselves. Whatever they studied, completely forgotten. And they never picked up a book since they left high school. They never studied anything on their own, no independent study whatsoever since they left high school. And these are the ones that are walking around, the ones I call zombies, but, they're the ones that are agreeing that it's a good idea to stay safe and stay at home. I don't know. I got a really short haircut before the quarantine. It was very short here, and it's still pretty short. This part, it's kind of thick, and it could use some, they cut it and they thin it out. It keeps falling down in front of my face, but, if I put some hairspray in there, and if I didn't have hat head, I could get by. I still think I need a haircut, but some people that had longer hair, I think they're going to start looking like apes before they're allowed to go and get a haircut again.